everyone, welcome back to a whole nother video. Today we're going to talk about the baby daddy pandemic. I don't know what it is with making this video. This particular video, I've had a debate in my mind constantly whether to do it or not do it. But obviously when I talked about the baby mama pandemic, I did promise you guys that I would talk about the baby daddy pandemic, and so it's just best for me to make sure I do it, you know. Anyway, everything that I'm gonna say in this video, again, it wasn't taken by anybody, like the notes were not taken by anybody else, but rather it's just, you know, inspired by the Holy Spirit. And I hope, like, the whole purpose of this video, I don't try to shame people or to make people feel bad about their current situation, but it's to let people be aware of the consequences of their action, because we're in a time where people are like, oh, do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do, but are you ready to face the consequences? Like, can you handle the consequences when it comes your way? Because if you can't handle the consequences, then you can't do whatever you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes the consequences, they don't just affect you, but it affects your children, it affects your family, it affects your future. So you really have to think it through. And that's why I'm doing this video, because men for the longest of time are able to eat their cake and have it at the same time for so long. And it's high time that everyone is held accountable for their action, and we're not just doing this blame game where it's like, oh, blaming the woman for everything. Because the more you're blaming women for everything, the more you're indirectly saying that women got more power over you. And if you don't believe that women has more power over you, then it's high time for you to be accountable for your own actions and not play this blaming kind of stuff. Okay, so anyway, baby daddy pandemic, some people will say baby daddy culture. The reason why I'm not titling this as baby daddy culture is the baby daddy culture is not a culture that is accepted by the majority. It's not even a culture that is accepted by the government. Okay, it's not something that has quite a lot of benefits. So that's why it's not called the baby daddy culture, but rather a pandemic, because a pandemic is something that is happening all over the world and it moves like a virus, basically. If you see me looking down, I'm looking down at my notes because I don't want to forget what I'm about to say in this video. If I sound somehow, it's because it's 12 o'clock at night, and yeah, basically I should be in bed. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about it. So let's get a bit of a background, because like I said, this baby daddy pandemic has it's existed for some time, but it's gotten worse over the years. Now let's just get something clear. Certain cultures and religion do permit men to have children with other women that are also their wives. Okay, so what I was told, correct me if I'm wrong, in the Muslim world, Muslim men are allowed to marry more than one woman. And so even if a Muslim man decides that he wants to have a kid with another woman, he is still going to introduce that woman to the family. Okay, so it's not done in a disrespectful way. She would still be introduced to the family, and they're going to do a little bit of ceremony to let everybody know that, look, this is the second woman, and the first wife is also going to know the second one. So basically the kids coming from the second one and the kids coming from the first one are, both of them are going to know each other. Okay, now there's this debate, because some Muslims will tell me, yeah, they can marry two wives. Some Muslims will say no, because Allah said whatever you do for wife A, you have to do for wife B, and if you can't do it for B, then you can't have two. So I don't know, there's this big debate, but I'm not going into that because I'm not a Muslim. Then there's certain countries and certain cultures that allows men to marry more than one woman, which means that they will obviously have kids with different type of women. Now these two examples that I've just mentioned in this video does not relate to the baby daddy pandemic. Why? Because those other women are being introduced to the family, and they're also being introduced to the first wife, and they are also getting wifed up. So it's not a case where You know, they just go out, get the girl pregnant, the family don't know, the first wife don't know, and so that woman and that kid is being abandoned for years, and then when the man is sick, they all of a sudden they just reappear. That's not that situation. So that doesn't that is not a baby daddy pandemic. That's more of a polygamous family, so that's different. A baby daddy pandemic is a man who go out there to sleep with a woman without vetting that woman out, without doing enough research on that woman, sleeps with that woman, have baby with that woman. Obviously, in most cases, they don't plan to have babies with that woman, but it tends to happen. And then the woman gives birth to the child, but the man has no intention of wifing her up. The man has no respect for her, and the man, you know, the man does not have any intention of, you know, securing her future for her financially, or in some cases the man cannot even assist or help financially, or in some cases the man does not even bother to be involved in the woman's life or in the child's life. That is what the baby pandemic is right now. So in this situation, you know, in the baby mama pandemic video, if you haven't watched that video, please go watch that video. I'm going to leave the link to that video somewhere on the screen for you to be able to go back to it. We talked about the consequences of being a baby mama. In this one, we're going to talk about the consequences of being a baby daddy or being a single father. Okay, and I'm going to go through it through the notes that I've got here with me. Okay, so one of the consequences of the baby daddy pandemic is that your financial life as a man gets affected. This is one of the biggest consequences when a man has children outside wedlock, when a man has children with a woman that he don't intend to wife up. It tends to affect their financial life. And not because these men are broke, because even celebrities, we see celebrity on the news who struggle to keep up with child benefit money, who struggle to financially pay child support. Now, most of these men in this who are who also partake in this baby daddy pandemic, most of them are also broke. They can't really afford to feed two people. They can only afford to feed one person. And so when they do have kids outside wedlock, their financial life gets affected, because now you have to pay child benefit in the little income that you only earn for yourself. Okay, and when this happens, it tends to affect your future marriage and your future relationships with other women. Now, I'm going to give you a clear example of myself. There was a time where a guy approached me. He was interested in me, and he wanted us to be in a relationship or whatever. And so while we were talking, he just decided to drop the bomb. Because it was a bomb. He dropped the bomb on me and told me that he's got 3 kids for 2 baby mamas, for 2 different women. And in my heart, I was like, whoa. And this guy was 27. Okay, 27, 3 kids for 2 different women, and he was working in retail. So when he was telling me this, right, while we were talking and he was telling me this, in my mind I'm like, 3 kids, which means you're obviously going to pay 3 different child support, and you're working in retail, and you probably don't earn anything more than probably like nothing more than 19,000 or 20,000 a year. And if you were to take rent and electricity bills and all this thing out, what are we going to be left with? So do you see how my brain is thinking? Because obviously any reasonable woman who's about to be in some serious relationship with a man, you need to be looking at his financial life. This is not about gold digging. This has nothing to do with gold digging. No woman in her right senses who's mature and grown is opening her eyes wide open into financial crisis. No woman wants that. Okay, so it is reasonable for a woman to think, okay, how much is he earning? And if he's got loads of kids outside wedlock, what are we left with? Can we go on holiday? Can we enjoy ourselves? Can we build houses? Can we invest? Can we make a lot of profit? Or is it going to be your baby mama and these 3 kids that are going to drag you back financially? So when a man has loads of children outside wedlock, your financial life gets affected, and it affects other relationships, and it even affects you. So that's something to consider. That's something that you need to be careful of. And if you are in a situation where you've got loads of kids for different women, then you need to up your game in your financial life. You need to make sure that you're earning more and do all you can to make sure that you're earning more, just so that in the future you can still enjoy your life and you can enjoy going on holidays with your woman and spend on yourself, take care of yourself, and be able to eat and enjoy your old age. Because a lot of men, they enjoy their life and make so many mistakes, but when they get old, when they get really, really old, that's when the consequences start hitting left, right, and center. Another consequences is when a man has kids for a woman outside wedlock, 90% of the time the man has not done any research on this woman. The man has not vet this woman out at all, and so therefore that woman, you don't know like who she is, where she's from, or what she's got in the inside of her. There are some men out here who I know who've had cancer due to this lifestyle. There's some men out here, once you've slept with a particular woman, all of a sudden you don't know what's going on with you. You're not the same anymore. Things don't used to work like the way it used to. For some reason, the way you used to get things and the way things used to work out for you, it's not working out for you like that. If you're spiritual, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you're not spiritual, if you're not religious, you might not really get what I'm saying. But if you know, you know. Okay, another thing is the type of woman you sleep with will determine the lifestyle of the child she gives birth to. So let's say you met this woman in the club. Obviously you can't really do any research in the club. You're there to enjoy yourself, whatever, and then you slept with her and eventually she got pregnant. Now let's assume that you're just one regular schmegler guy on just a normal salary doing a 9 to 5. If that stripper decides to give birth to that child, the chances of that child becoming a stripper is very, very high. Because one, you're not financially stable to get her out of that lifestyle and to also give that child a different lifestyle. And because that's the kind of woman you slept with, your kids will definitely end up like that. You give birth to your own kind. You don't give birth to another kind. A banana tree will give birth to bananas. A mango tree will have mangoes on it. So if you are sleeping with a stripper, the chances of that child being a stripper is very, very high. If you slept with a girl who loves drama, she loves chaos, she's always, you know, fighting everyone, that's the type of kid you're gonna have. Obviously, you know, your DNA is gonna be part of that kid, but usually it's usually the bad seed that tends to manifest. It's usually the bad kind that tends to manifest. So this is something that you need to be aware of, something that you need to consider. In order to avoid this, if you want to avoid this, you need to be involved in that child's life as much as you can. You need to make sure that you teach that child in the right way, and make sure that you are constantly involved no matter what. Even if she's trying to push you away, get some lawyers involved. Okay, the next one that we have here is that a woman that you've slept with, that you have babies with, she can use your child against you. This is another power that women have. Women have the power to use their own children against their own dad. Yeah, because if she's emotionally not happy with you, let's say you have a baby with a woman who loves you but you don't love her, which is usually the case with single moms. They tend to be with a man that wasn't really into them, but they really want him and he doesn't really want her, and then she has a baby for you. And let's say you tell her that, look, I don't see you that way, like I'll be here for the kid, I'll be here for you, but I'm not interested in a relationship, or I don't intend to wife you up. If she's not emotionally mature, she can use that child as a weapon against you, and she will begin to feed that child with things bad about you in order to use that child against you. And instead of you to enjoy your child, that child will become a thorn to your flesh. So this is another big consequence. This is one of the biggest consequences of having kids with someone, with a woman that you don't know, with a woman that you've not wifed up. She can use that child against you. So that's something that you need to be aware of. Another thing that you need to be aware of, even though I've mentioned it previously, how your financial life is affected when you have kids outside wedlock with different women. Not only is it affected, but for those of you who do have money and you do have enough to take care of that child, your money will begin to spread towards people that you don't know. So what do I mean by that? Let's say your baby mama that you're obviously not going to wife up has decided that she's going to move on and she's going to get in a relationship. Okay, now 90% of single moms, they tend to make a mistake on the type of man they get with, and you can always trust a single mama to end up with a broke dude. If that single mom does not level up and not get her career on track and not carry herself up in a respectful way and get her life back on track, there's a high chance that she will end up with a broke guy, or like some of you would call it, a dusty. Okay, and if she gets with a guy like that, if she gets with a feminine man, a broke man, or a dusty man, whatever you call it, whatever money you're giving to her as child benefit, or for her to take care of herself or that kid, I promise you that man that she's dating is going to take part of that money as well. Because men that are broke, feminine men, dusty men, they always try to steal money from women. They always try to spend women's money. And if you're giving your baby mama money for the child, there's a high chance that it's going to another person that you don't know, a third party that you don't know. And so they'll just be milking it off you. And the guy that she's dating could find a way to even use his girlfriend, which is your baby mama, against you to milk and drain you financially. So that's something that you have to be very careful. Luckily, if the child is 18, obviously, the child is physically old enough to come to you and ask you for money. But before the child gets to 18, these are things that could happen, and it's happened to people in real life. A man that has multiple kids for different women people will always look at how responsible you are based off of how you take care of those kids financially. It's very important. Any man who wants kids, it's very important for you to have money. You have to have money to take care of your kids. You need money. Telling your kids, I love you, and they're starving is not going to cut it. Telling your kids, I love you, and they need clothes to wear, they need food to eat, is not going to cut it. So if you are not taking up the financial responsibility of a child, then there's no way that child or the mother of that child can respect you or hold you to high regard. They just can't. And whenever you're calling the shots for the child, whenever you're giving orders for the child or for the mom, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to heed to you, because financially you're not there. Financially you're not responsible, or you're not taking up any responsibility. So this is something you have to be aware of. I know it sucks, but these are really the consequences of your action. If you want your baby mama or the mother of your child to really respect you, then you must take up some financial responsibility in that child's life. You must do that if you want her to respect you, if you want her to hold you to high regard. You must play your part. Sleeping with multiple women, I don't know why men get praised for it, because honestly, there's nothing to brag about. The consequences is not worth it, okay? Single dads, baby daddy pandemic created masculine women. The baby daddy pandemic created masculine women. When a man is not around to look after the child or to be there financially, that mother is left alone to take up daddy role and mommy role at the same time. And so when she has to take up a man's role and a woman's role, she will become masculine, because now she has to probably work 2 jobs to make ends meet. Then she has to then, you know, be soft but at the same time be hard, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. Even me having a son as well, there are times where I have to realize that I can't be too soft around him a lot. There are times I have to switch and be a bit harsh and be a bit like logical, or even be very logical, and making sure that I stick to what I say. I'm not being emotional. So when men are complaining, oh, we want women to be more feminine, women cannot be too feminine if there's no father figure about. It's not possible. You know, this is the consequences that men can't handle. You lot cannot handle masculine women. You don't want masculine women. But when you're not there taking up your responsibility, this is what you've created. Masculine women. Women who dress like a woman, they talk like a woman, but they behave like men. They move like men. They act like men. They shout like men. This is what you've created because you refuse to take up your role. There's no point in blaming single mothers for making some men soft and feminine. A woman cannot turn a boy into a man. How do you do that? Even me, like, it's difficult for me to talk to my child about sex education, because obviously I know the basics, I know the stuff, but when it comes to the male body part, I don't know too much of that. I have to Google that, I have to look up on YouTube, I have to listen to doctors, I have to listen to this in order to even find a way to even communicate it to him. It's hard, unless if you have a father figure that can actually help you out with that. So instead of blaming women for creative feminine men, I think it's high time that single fathers take the blame for masculine women being around, because that's really where it started. When there's no father figure in the family, a mother has to take up both roles, and it's hard. She can't keep up with her looks. She tends to gain weight. She can't take pedicure, manicure anymore, because now she's taking up both roles. And a man does not wake up and think, oh, how am I going to cut my hair today? No, a man wakes up and think, how much dollars are we going to make today? Where are we going next? What's the next thing to do? That's how a woman has to think when there's no father figure around. Back in the day, you hardly wouldn't see women do a job of a taxi. You hardly wouldn't see women in a building site picking bricks and doing all of that. These days we're seeing women do these things because there's no father figure around. There's just none. So if you want your kids to grow, if you want your daughters to grow up and be feminine, and you want your sons to grow up and be masculine, then you as a father figure, you need to be around. You need to be around. Forget about these women that are coming out here talking about Miss Independent, talking about I don't need a man, I can do it on myself. No, they can't. They cannot do it themselves. They need you, okay? They need you. And if she's pushing you away, get lawyers, get solicitors involved, and get involved. That's the way to go about it, point blank, period. Because if not, there's just too much going on. Feminine men were obviously created by masculine women. They were. And there's some men, they're so feminine, they don't even know that they're just too soft. I know a man whose appearance look very manly, but when you get to know him, he is so soft. Now, there's nothing wrong with a man having a soft side. Every man should have a soft side, but a man shouldn't be too soft 24/7. It just, I don't know what it is. It just is not right. There are times where you need a man to be firm, to be like, you know what I mean? Like, you need him to be firm, to be collected, to be calm and collected, but firm. And, you know, like, in a way that I know that it's not easy for me to manipulate him. But when a guy is just too soft all the time, girls will just take the piss out of him. Girls would just, his wife or his girl would just do whatever they want to do, because he's just too soft, way too soft. See, when a guy is too soft, oh my goodness, a girl sees that as, it's very easy for her to even cheat on you. Cheating on you will be easy, it won't be hard. Manipulating you will be easy, it won't be hard. But that's the lack of a father figure. So when I spoke to him and he was talking to me about his family, I realized that his father wasn't around. So this was why he was like extra soft, to the point that it just turned me off. I can't even get turned on by a guy that is just way too soft. A guy should have a soft side, but it shouldn't be turned on. That soft side shouldn't show up all the time 24/7. No, for a woman, yes, you need to be soft 24/7, but for a man, it shouldn't be like that. There are times where he needs to be firm. And when a guy is more firm, he's taken more seriously than when he's constantly just like soft every minute, every day, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's really it for the baby daddy pandemic. I know some people might not agree with some of the things that I've said in this video, but again, this is just my view. But there are consequences for everything that you do as a man, and just because you got away with it today, that doesn't mean that you'll get away with it 10, 15, 20 years time. There are many men out there who are 60, 50, 70, and they look old, wretched, and poor, broke, and they're suffering. And it's due to these things that I'm saying. You know, there are people, there are single fathers out there where there's single fathers out there where their baby mama is literally milking the cash off them. Milking the cash off them. Every little thing. Oh, the baby needs this, send the money. Oh, baby needs that, can you send the money? Baby needs this, can you do this, can you do this? And they're just milking it, and you haven't found another stream of income. And so in another few years, you just go broke. And some of these baby mamas, they take money off men. They don't even spend it on the kid. They spend it on themselves. And then they put this image on the kid that, oh, your dad never sends us anything. And then the kid grows up hating you, and you don't even know why. Because obviously all you've been doing is just sending money, but you haven't physically been there to be able to communicate and talk to that child. So let's think about it. The world could be praising you for knowing how to get this girl and sleep with that girl, and you know, all I'm gonna say is retain your sperm. Okay, your sperm has a lot of eggs in it, which means those eggs are capable to turn into a human being. Instead of just splashing it to anywhere, retain it. There's something that is so attractive about a man that cannot be easily manipulated sexually. There's just something about that kind of man that would just make a girl like want to get close to him. You know, there's some men, you meet them immediately and all of a sudden they're trying to touch you here, touch you there. I know immediately that this guy's a manhole. 100%. The minute a guy is always trying to touch, hug, touch, do that, you know, immediately he's been sleeping around. But when you come across a guy who's not quick to touch you, a guy who knows how to keep his hands to himself, and all he's doing is talking to you, giving you that eye contact, and he's boldly looking into your eye and being able to communicate, and he don't have to touch you, oh my goodness. You see, the girl, she'll be the one coming after you. You won't even have to jump through hoops to get that girl. She'll be the one coming after you, because in her head it's like, oh my goodness, like, it wasn't even easy for me to make this guy want to sleep with me, or make this guy get turned on by me. She be trying to make herself noticeable to you. Okay? Retain your sperm. Retain it. Don't just waste it, because low sperm count is real. And as some men get older, I don't know why they don't push this, but some men sometimes, the kids that they produce as they get older is not always what they expect. So just be careful and be aware of that. That's it for this video. I hope you guys were able to learn something. If you feel like you want to add your 2 cents to it or whatever, leave in the comment section. Men don't really take women's advice, so I don't really expect a lot of views of this from men. But if you're a woman watching this and you have a son, you know, you can tell him to come watch this channel. Watch this video. You might learn something from it. That is pretty much it for me for today, and I'll see you all when next I do the video. So it might not be next week. Next week I might just do a hair video, and then the week after I might do one of these single daddy, single mother videos. Okay, so stay blessed, stay beautiful. Love you all. Bye.